Thanks for tuning in to the latest of our Creator Showcase videos. Today we're joined by some of the team from the Dangerous Kitchen to tell us about the game that they've made for Crayta. So welcome aboard, guys. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about your experience making games?
Yes, sure. So I'm Lucy. I am, one of the three members of the Dangerous Kitchen. The second one is joining me. And we have experience on Switch making Demumbo, which is a strange and obscure multiplayer game, which I think is why Crayta wanted to speak to us.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Luke. So I'm that second member of the Dangerous Kitchen that Lucy mentioned. So my focus is primarily, I'm the programmer of the team primarily, so I focus on more the tech side of things. So I joined the Dangerous Kitchen when we were doing Demumbo, and prior to that have other experience with other indie teams and projects.
So tell us a little bit about the game you've made for Crayta and what it's about.
So the game we've made is called Master of Faster 20XX. It's if you took Mario Chase from Nintendo Land and fused it with Mario Kart. So essentially it's a game of tag within the Crayta world.
Yeah, so we took that kind of initial concept of players essentially chasing each other around the world and tried to kind of gamify it further. So everyone's thrown into this lobby together and there's this main objective that you have to capture, and then once you've captured that, your objective is to basically try and hide from the other players as best as you can. All while doing this, there are little capture points around the map that if you reach and then finally kind of get back to the center within the time frame of holding the it's a lightning bolt that you have above your head. We kind of internally referred to it as the crown. Then the game ends. So it's kind of all about that sort of, process of chasing but trying to hide, also doing other stuff, as well as there's global events going on that change the player's speed and pickups and other methods of scoring. So it's kind of just a big hodgepodge of mechanics thrown together around this kind of chaotic game of tag going on.
For example, like the coins encourage people to compete, the chasers to compete with each other because you can steal coins from each other, which increases your lunge speed. Getting the target points around the map, you can end the game that way. So it sort of, rather than just running around aimlessly in a game of tag, the runner has an ultimate objective.
And what inspired you to come up with that idea in the first place?
Well, as I said, I mentioned Nintendo. We're big Nintendo nerds. So we were trying to think of some simplistic core that we could apply to Crayta and embellish upon. That's kind of how we work on games usually. So we thought we'd apply it to Crayta.
How did you go about choosing the kind of the look and feel of the game from the assets that were provided within Crayta?
What initially happened was we went through the audio tracks and we ended up chucking on this very 80s sounding audio track, and it sort of inspired us to pick things related to that. So the logo we made it very 80s. We have all this neon stuff going on, which I'm sure you can see, a little bit cyberpunk-esque. It was, definitely the audio inspired that idea.
Great, and what are you both most pleased with in how the final game turned out?
Well, I'm very proud of the UI side of things. It was quite interesting. So we have Colin, who was the fourth honorary member of the Dangerous Kitchen for this project. He coded all the UI side of things. He did a really great job. With the radar and stuff, because I know that was quite challenging within the context of Crayta.
On my end anyway, the thing I'm most pleased with was sort of the level of polish that we managed to achieve as well. Because obviously we went for this quite simplistic idea of users chasing each other, and then the aim of the game being that, okay, now you've taken this objective from this player, so now you have got to escape from everyone else. So once we kind of got that underlying mechanic implemented, it kind of gave us a lot of freedom to explore other areas of the games, like the kind of like leveling system, and as Lucy said, the radar and the global events and everything else that kind of happen to kind of make it feel like a more complete experience.
So what's the most exciting thing about Crayta in your opinion?
there's plenty to get excited about. To be perfectly honest, I mean, yeah, the collaborative element is phenomenal. You know, the kind of like the gamification of making games is really cool. The way in which, you know, everyone's sort of like thrust into this world together, and you can see everyone's little drones flying around as you're modifying the area, or, you know, everyone's kind of just chucked into the playtesting sessions at the same time. So, you know, if I was making some changes in code and I wanted to like quickly test something, you know, everyone that's already there kind of collaborating. You know, I can drag them with me and say, okay, look, can you help me test out this feature really quick? It's not all just on my end; it's applied for everyone simultaneously.
So big thank you to the team from Dangerous Kitchen for introducing us to Master of Faster, which you'll be able to play as soon as Crayta launches later this summer exclusively on Stadia. In the meantime though, check out the rest of our Creator Showcase videos and learn a little bit more about some of the other titles that are coming up. And remember to subscribe to the channel so that you can stay updated with all the other Creator news and join in with our live streams.